ready to start. Would you like to make an opening statement or go through anything first?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Amy Kudell, the Executive Director. I wanted to introduce everybody I have with me today. This is Seda Naeem. She's our Finance Director. And then I have Martin LaPerry, our Board President, and George Nicole, our Operations Director, with us today. Thank you for having us. If it's okay, I'll just step through. Mary sent us a couple questions. I'll step through our responses to those, and then I believe she's going to give those to you all later today. So we provided our organizational chart as attachment A to our response. We noted we have 8 exempt employees. Those are the director level staff, deputy directors, and the transportation operations supervisor. We have 75 total employees, 56 full-time, 16 part-time, and 3 substitute employees. Some of our employees will appear multiple times on the org chart, and that's just because they're serving in dual roles. Our maintenance person is also serving in an assessor role. We have HDM drivers that also assist in the centers, so you'll see them multiple times on the chart. And I wanted to take a second to point out what this team was able to accomplish this last year. We served nearly 160,000 meals in fiscal year 2025. That's up 2,300 meals from fiscal year 2024. We also gave 48,900 rides, which is 5,000 more rides than in fiscal year 2024. We provided almost 10,000 hours of evidence-based, that's called HPDP, evidence-based exercise classes, which help with balance, blood pressure, things like that, and several more services. We're going to provide you guys with some graphics on that a bit later. I'll get those to Mary. You also asked about the benefits that we provide to our employees. We offer health insurance with the majority of the premium covered by Coast. Coast pays $775 per employee towards whatever plan they choose, and the employee portion ranges from $38 to $181 per pay period, depending on the plan. We have 61 eligible employees. 34 of those have enrolled, and the remaining 27 waived the coverage. We also offer dental, vision, and life insurance at no cost to the employee, and we have optional supplemental benefits like short and long-term disability that the employee would fully fund. We offer a 3% match on retirement. As far as allowances and travel, we do offer vehicle stipends for certain roles. And in my response, I provided the employee name. I should have provided the title. That's what Mary had asked for. So it's the executive director, myself, the operations director, the client services director and deputy director, the wellness coordinator, the activities coordinator, and the homemaker coordinator. All of those positions are either expected to travel regularly to meetings, to centers, or to client homes. The remaining employees who do have to travel get mileage reimbursements when they submit regular expense reports. We do not have any take-home vehicles. And then the line item for travel expenses, you all wanted a little more information on that. That includes costs related to staff training, conferences, and mileage reimbursements. This year, it also includes a good bit of mileage reimbursement to assist us with an STPH, with a grant, specifically from the Governor's Office of Elderly Affairs to educate folks on COVID. And this time around, they wanted us to focus on our homebound clients. All that work was done in July and August. So there's a good bit of funding in that travel reimbursement that is being reimbursed through that dedicated grant. Revenues. You all asked about our active grants and other revenue sources outside the parish. We have $1.98 million we are expecting from the Governor's Office of Elderly Affairs. This is Title III funding. That's a discretionary funding source from the Older Americans Act. At this point, they're still talking about what that's going to look like for us this year. We do have a contract, but it's contingent upon funding appropriations from the federal government. It looks like we are going to get a small increase in Title IIIB, which is support services, and those are items that really don't fit into another category like nutrition. That's going to cover, it could be transportation, it could be wellness, things like that. We may see a slight increase, but everything else is staying the same currently. So hopefully that does go through as planned. We have budgeted $2.4 million for the St. Tammany Parish millage. You may remember our budget's due June 30th. Our fiscal year starts July 1st. So this was the budget when we had some discussions in June on our funding. So this is a conservative estimate on that millage. Program income of $9,000. Those are restricted donations. Sometimes the clients will, give an envelope with a couple dollars cash in it at the centers to help offset the cost of meals. And then we'll use those to fund additional meals. Star Transit Urban Operations, our contract is for $1.9 million. That expires next year. Star Transit Rural is $300,000. That also expires next year. Utility assistance. We get some funding from the utility companies to help offset the utility, what we provide to clients. It is not a one-for-one. We spend a good bit more than this $3,000, but everything helps. But it's not a complete offset. And then miscellaneous, this is interest income and unrestricted donations. You asked for information on our fund balance. We had quite a bit of discussion about that in June as well. In 2023, our general fund balance was $1.5 million, $1.5 million again in 2024, and then in 2025, it went up to $1.7 million. We also have non-spendable fund balance. That has increased from $1.9 million all the way up to $6.3 million, and included in that non-spendable fund balance are buildings and fixed assets. So when the capital fund goes away, you're going to see that non-spendable because we spent all the capital fund on the projects on 434. So the non-spendable fund balance is going up as the capital fund goes down. And we also had 3 vehicles that we purchased through an FTA grant last year. So that's the reason for the additional increase you see in the non-spendable fund balance in 2025. As far as cost-saving measures, we've reduced budgeted staff positions from 86 to 75. We've combined and outsourced certain job duties. That's why you'll see some of those folks performing multiple duties, and then others have taken on additional roles. We also discontinued the sitter program in April 2024. All these things were done in an attempt to lower cost and preserve essential services for the older adults of St. Tammany Parish. So I just want to say thank you to you guys for your partnership and for allowing us to continue to serve, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. One question I have. Can you tell us how your board members are chosen? Because the parish does not participate in that, so I'd like the council to know how your board members were chosen.
Absolutely. We have to abide by bylaws from the Governor's Office of Elderly Affairs, and as part of that, we are required to try to have representation from all over the parish. We do struggle a little bit finding folks that, from the northernmost areas, so if you know of anybody, that would be wonderful for next year. But board members folks that are interested can apply anytime, but usually in March and April, our board development committee will do interviews. Anybody from the general public, as long as they are over the age of 18, is welcome to apply. The board development committee does its best to try to diversify and get all different backgrounds, and we certainly can use all different backgrounds. We never know what may come up in the course of business, and it's great to have those folks to call on. But really, that's the only qualification. We now meet every other month on the 4th Thursday. It's the 4th, right? Not the 3rd. 4th Thursday of the month in Covington at our 10th Street Activity Center. board members are asked to serve for 1 3-year term, they are allowed to go for another 3-year term, and then they have to sit off for 1 year. Once the board development committee selects, they send that candidate forward to the full board, and then at our annual meeting in June, the candidates give a speech to the members of Coast, which can be anybody over the age of 18 is welcome to be a corporate member of Coast, and then the board is voted on at that meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
Thank you. Is it Ms. Kudell?
Yes.
Okay, good. You had mentioned in your opening statements, is it pretty big increases in transportation and meals requests for those services?
We have had some large increases in that, and we are doing our best to accommodate. We do have a little bit of a wait list on transportation. We are working with our software provider right now to automate our scheduling process so we can get as efficient as we possibly can to accommodate more folks.
What do you believe is the cause for the request for the increase in those services? What's driving that?
I think they're just the general nature of our population. We are almost a quarter of the population of St. Tammany Parish, and we have more and more folks who we have a lot of need for dialysis transportation. We do have a few of those on the waiting list, and I think bottom line funding. If we had unlimited funding, we would hire several more drivers and have several more vehicles, and then we would be able to accommodate more. As it is, there are a lot of areas in St. Tammany Parish our larger buses can't access, so you'll see our smaller vans, and we're able to get in and out of folks' driveways or tight turnarounds, especially in the rural areas.
So you actually believe that the request for those services would even be higher if we had a bigger budget?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kugel?
Thank you. Thank you for the work you guys do. I know that one of the issues that come up for you mentioned about the drivers, that you guys have had a difficult time getting enough drivers. Is that because of the pay rate that you're able to offer, and that is impacting as far as transportation pretty significantly? Is that right?
I think that has a lot to do with it. We do have a lot of really dedicated folks that, they're just amazing and they love what they do. That's why they're here. But I think if we were able to pay better, we would have a little bit more stability there.
Right. So operationally right now, is it correct that you don't have enough drivers that you need?
Right now we have an opening for 1 chauffeur driver. Okay. So, and as far as the vehicles that we have available to them, we would need to buy more vehicles and then hire more drivers.
Okay, thank you.
So it's sort of a combination of both on that one.
Mr. Bender?
Thank you very much. So thank you for the good work that y'all do. I have quite a few senior citizens that go to my church, and I've received, on behalf of you all, a lot of compliments about Coast. And I have an older son with MS, and of course his wife works. He's wheelchair bound, and you can take one person with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've actually ridden with him. They lift him up in the gate and put him in, and then I sit in one of the seats and going with him to doctor's appointments and that in Slidell. I have to say, the drivers that I've witnessed have been extraordinary. Good. Very, very nice people. I asked the first driver, when I was getting out, I said, can I give you a tip? And she said, we can't take tips. And I said, okay, well, you did a great job. So thanks to you people too, you hear?
Thank you, that's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Phillips?
You mentioned the sitter program, and what made you select that as means of cutting costs. It seems like that would be, for seniors, a very relevant thing to have going for you.
It is, and from the personal aspect, that one was very hard to cut, but that was a new program that was added whenever we had all the COVID funding in place. So since it was one of the last ones added, that is the one that was selected to go away. But instead of that, we do offer personal care and respite services. The Sitter Companion Program was really just companionship. Now, the respite and personal care is a different level of care. They may get assistance with medication management, but it does still provide the primary caregiver a break during the day in which they can go to doctor's appointments, whatever they need to do. Sometimes it may be as simple as they may need to sleep because their loved one, with sundowning, you're not getting rest at night. So it is some time that we can give the caregivers a break. But through Volunteers of America, we have partnered with them. We are trying to bring that back on a voluntary basis. We have one person so far signed up, ready to volunteer. We need to drum up some more folks that are ready to volunteer for that. But that program will run through VOA, and we're going to do our best to bring that back.
So that individual would go there to give somebody a break.
Right.
How long would they be there during the day?
It can be anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending on the individual's needs and the volunteer's availability.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes, ma'am. I want to thank you very much for all your fine work for the people of our parish. I do have two questions. I want to build on Councilman Kugel's question. What is the perceived gap on the hourly rate for drivers between what you typically pay and what you think would get you to be able to attract? So I don't expect you to answer that right now, but if you could provide us at least to know what a target would be, is we'd need this much per hour, and if you multiply that by X, it works out to this is the gap that we have in our current funding that we see. And secondarily, for the program that was relieved, things that are helpful to us in the long term as lights.
Thank you, President Cooper.
We got to give it a minute to get
Does
everything
that mean
started
we're out of
back up.
time?
Once we get restarted, I'll finish my question. Tell me when, Madam Chairman.
When we get our board on. Okay. Okay, you can go.
Anyway, my secondary question, one of the things that's useful to us as a council is to understand what the needs are, and then also a rough order magnitude budgetary estimate of what it would take to go satisfy that, so that if we come across or have an opportunity to find a funding opportunity or contribute, I know you guys are looking on your own all the time, but if we have opportunities, if we at least know what those, if we had this much more, this is what we could go add, that would be helpful. So if you could provide some of that to, if you get it to Mary, Mary or Ashley, they can distribute it to us. But I'd very much like to see what those incremental needs are that you're looking for.
I definitely will. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I applaud you and appreciate your service to our community.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Our board is out, so I cannot see any more questions. Raise your hand. Does anybody? Any other question? Okay. Thank you, Amy, and the work you do and your staff.
Thank you
We
so much.
appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thank
you guys.
Next up is Stark. Okay, I think we're back on. Okay, again, I'm going to say that Stark is a dedicated funding source, and the millage will expire along with Coast in 2028. First of all, can you tell us how your board members are chosen before you do the presentation? Because we do not appoint those, right?
You do not. We have a nominating committee that puts forth a slate, which goes to Stark's full membership and is voted on, and they serve terms of 3 years.
Okay, thank you. You can begin with your presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Tanner. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, council members. We appreciate you letting us come and talk to you for a few minutes. A few opening remarks before we get into your specific questions. But all in all, I just want to thank y'all for your support over the years. I want to introduce Ms. Tia Friel with Taylor & Willis CPA firm, our outsourced CFO. Ms. Linda Bocadre, our Chief Human Resources Officer, also a new resident of Lacombe, Joe, so one of your constituents there. But anyway, I usually talk about all the different things we do at Stark, but I think most of y'all have a pretty good idea of that. But in short, we provide a lifetime of services for individuals with developmental disabilities through a variety of programs and services. We currently have over 600 enrolled in those different programs, and we have over 250 employees. The main thing I'd like to talk about is our residential program. We currently have 4 8-bed homes and 2 4-bed homes. We're starting construction on our 5th 8-bed home as we speak. Actually, we haven't broken ground, but we're close, I hope. These are each staffed 24/7, 365. The program is a huge need because it gives families the comfort of knowing their loved one will be cared for when they can no longer do so. We become their family. Many agencies are closing these kind of facilities because the state has made it almost impossible to run them. We're not closing them, we're expanding them, and I'm proud to say that we're doing that. But we're doing that with no new revenue streams. We're doing that with the funds that we have available to us. The need's just too important. You see an uptick in autism diagnoses, so I see that need even growing. We currently have a waiting list of 25 people for those services. Waiting list is not a service. So like I said, we see that continuing to be a massive need, and we want to be able to solve that for families. We also have to stay competitive with our direct care rates. I told the story last time I was in front of you guys about the young man that we served that had a massive heart attack, and I have staff on the ground doing mouth-to-mouth and CPR. I want to pay them a competitive wage. I'm excited that last week we were able to do a rate adjustment, so we were able to get our starting rate up $1 an hour, which is exciting for our staff. But those costs compound year after year, and again, we're doing that with no new revenue source. I don't have a item that I can mark up the price on to bring in more money. We have what we have. I always like to remember that we're all one incident away from needing these same services ourselves. So I'm thankful for this millage that we received with Coast, who's an awesome partner. Small world, George, his son used to attend Stark. He's in the school system now, but he'll be back with us one day. We're just all interconnected. But I'm just thankful for this millage. I think when Kevin Davis helped us get it passed 20 years ago, he's proud of the way we've been able to use it. So now I'd like to get on to your specific questions. One, you asked for the organizational chart. You have it attached there. If you have any questions, we can circle back to it. 1B, what benefits package are offered? We have the subsidized, we have medical, 401k, fully funded group basic life insurance for any full-time employee. Then we have voluntary benefits such as dental, vision, short-term disability, whole life accident care, cancer policy, etc. And then as funds are available to Stark, employee recognition awards, years of service award, that's for employees that have been here at least 20 years. And annual performance evaluation increase, which is something we just put in place. We had staff that went 10 years without getting an adjustment in pay. So we were able to a couple years ago, start a annual merit eval increase, 0 to 3%. 1C, what allowances or stipends does your organization offer? Only one we really offer is we have 5 paid holidays, and they get a flat, every employee gets a flat stipend of $75 a day for those days. 1D, which positions are assigned take-home vehicles? Stark-owned vehicles. We have 2 registered agents at Stark, myself and our Director of Operations. We are on call 24/7, 365, never off, so we are allotted a vehicle. And then our outgoing executive director has a vehicle. She's under a succession plan. She has a year and a half left till she's fully retired, and that will go away at that time. So there's 2 positions. 1E, what is the purpose of travel expenses? It's laid out there for you on Group 14 of our budget, everything listed for that. 2A, we have a pie chart that shows you our different funding sources. Pretty self-explanatory, but the parish makes up 26% of our overall budget. 2B, active grants. That'll be in your attachment in the back. We have 6 active grants. We have 2 van grants going on right now. We have the HUD grant that allows us to do our retirement program called Silver Stars. Salmon Family Foundation, we use theirs this year to put defibrillators in all of our facilities, especially after the incident I spoke of earlier. Louisiana Bar Foundation funds our single point of entry program. That's someone where anybody can call and she will get them directed to the right department, research what they need, research all of it, and handle all their needs. And then the Louisiana Project Grant funds our art program instructor wages, which our art therapy program. I think in your package you've got a couple of our art cards, so that's a great unfunded program that we do there. Where am I here? 3, provide fund balances for the last 3 years. So for A, 24-25, total equity $9.3 million. 5.6 of that is tied to capital assets. 3.7, the remaining fund balance is 3.7, of which $2 million is restricted for the new residential home that I spoke about building. This is a 5,000 square foot raised home, sprinkler system, quasi-commercial, very, very, very costly to build. This leaves $1.7 million in reserves. Our monthly operating expenses are around $750,000, so this is 2.2 months of reserves. 2023-24, 8.9, 22-23, 8.2. Number 4, do you have any ideas or recommendations to share with cost-saving measures put there to enhance financial sustainability and reduce operational costs? We've implemented several things. Reduction in contract labor. I've talked to you guys before about contract labor. Up to $30 an hour we're having to pay to fill positions that we pay $13 an hour for because we haven't had the staff. We've been able, through raising rates, to hire more staff, which in turn reduces that contract labor cost. We actually saved about $150,000 last year with that. Outsourced financial management, we had our longtime CFO retire. We did not replace that position. We contracted with Taylor & Willis, cut those costs about in half. But not only that, our entire financial department now, their firm knows it. If I lose somebody, they come in and can train the next person. I'm not trying to figure out how to do that. It's been a lifesaver. And then streamlined administrative functions. Due to a natural attrition, we've been in business 53 years. A lot of our people come and stay for a long time, so we've had a lot of long-time people retiring. We've reassigned a lot of those duties to people in-house without filling positions unless needed. And that's it. Any questions? I have a closing remark, but I'll wait till after your questions.
All right. Mr. Impostata?
Houses that I know you're so passionate about, and you've told me in more detail. Can you just describe that some more to the council, because I think it's awesome, and it deserves more, the services that they provide and how they work.
Yeah, I mean, these folks live together as a family, and the state, I said earlier, is making them impossible to run. They really are, and I think there's an effort to shut them down because institution. I challenge anybody to come tour one of our homes and tell me you're in an institution. Our homes are beautiful, 8 private bedrooms, they each have their own climate control, they cook together, they eat together. But the one we're building now, a beautiful home. It's going to be a big addition to the area where we're building it. And these folks families have the security of knowing they don't have to worry about what's going to happen. So many times they have a sibling and parents think, oh, well, brother's going to take care of them or sister. Rarely happens. Mom and dad pass away, a year or two later, I get a call from brother or sister. We just can't do it. So that's what this is here for. Other agencies are closing these homes because the state is not allowing you to run them. I'll just give you a quick example. We get licensed. They come in, they're there for days. Linda's there for days with them. They're dinging us on stuff that we've never been dinged on. I have a house with 4 ladies in wheelchairs, 2 with walkers, and they're dinging me for marks on the wall, which comes with fines. Sprinkler systems. The last 2 we built, we sprinkled the whole house. Now they want the closet sprinkled, so we've got to either do that or they ding us. So stuff like that just are making it very hard to run them. We are committed to continue to do so. Thank you.
And what is your wait list on that, Mark?
25.
25.
Yes, sir.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Councilman.
Mr. Corbett?
Getting there.
Thank you, Councilwoman Tanner. A quick question. So if I'm looking at your budget right, there's $407,000 worth of professional fees that you're contracting for. It's your line item 21. Is that what you're talking about, where you're having to go out and get a contract with to bring staff on versus being able to hire directly?
Yes, sir.
So the majority of that is in that, I'm sorry. The majority of that is in that 267,000 underneath the residential program.
Okay, what line is that?
It's the same line 21. If you go over into the programs, it's a breakout
Oh,
of,
got it. Okay.
of those dollars and which programs those dollars are allocated to.
Okay, and do the contractors that you use, do they pay their staff members equal to or greater than what you pay today?
They're not supposed to talk about it, but they do, obviously, when they're at a home together for 8 hours in the middle of the night. But I believe they pay a little bit more than we pay our people, which has been tough because my people are asking, well, why can't we get paid this? So yes, it's been an issue. They don't get the full. We have 3 different contracts. One is I think 25 an hour, one's 27 an hour, and one's 29 an hour. And I think maybe they get 15, 16 an hour, and the rest goes to the company. But yes, they do talk about it with our staff, even though they aren't supposed to. I've had to bring it to their attention on more than one occasion.
So do you provide benefits to your employees?
We do.
And
That help. That's my explanation.
Does the contractor provide benefits also?
They do not. And that's how I explain it to our staff.
Okay. Similar to my question before, can you give us a sense of what the delta you would need in terms of a salary rate that you think you could eliminate the bulk of this? I don't need you to answer.
I can give you a quick answer. So I took over in 2019. We were at starting rate at $9 an hour. We got it to 10, then we got it to 11, to 12. Last week we got it to 13. I think for the jobs that we're asking people to do, I'd like to see us at 15 an hour.
Okay, I'd rather have you send us an email.
Yes, sir.
But what would be what's the total cost difference required in order for you to push that? I recognize that there's also some flexibility that comes with having contracts that make it necessary to maintain those contracts, and in order to maintain them, you actually have to use them a little bit.
We've never had one until after COVID.
Yeah, or else they go away. But given that, if there's a way that seems like that you're paying not quite twice, but you're paying a significant premium in order to go fill those slots, a very strong strategic objective would be to transition those people, and what is the price point that allows you to go do that? So that's really my question. And I'd be interested in getting an idea back from you.
Not only that, they're not familiar with our folks.
No, I understand all the other ancillary benefits, but just in terms of where you think that price point is or that labor rate point that would allow you, get you to the point where you could take out a significant portion of this. That's, I recognize in your whole overall $8 million budget, that's not a massive number, but still 250,000 plus
Yes.
is services that could be provided someplace else.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We'll get that to you.
Okay, and I do want to thank you. When you talk about breaking ground, are you talking about the one on Fremo?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I've been watching that property. I drive by
Man,
it daily.
it is, I thought it would have been built by now. It's been a process, but we're getting there.
Well, good. Well, thank you all for your service. Appreciate what you do for the residents of our parish. You have a noble mission, and it's much appreciated.
Thank you, Councilman.
Mr. Strickland.
Yes, first, just want to thank you all for what you all do. Y'all services have been incredible. Serves a lot of people in our area. But about how many people do y'all serve of the parish?
Through our different programs, we have over 600 enrolled. Some of those might be enrolled in 2 different programs. So the actual individual heartbeats is in the neighborhood of 350. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bender.
Yes, thank you. No, I just want to thank you for your service, you know. It's certainly needed. And I hope you can get your salary rate up some. As Mr. Corbin mentioned, you know, let us know what it would cost to get it up to $15 an hour. I'm just curious. I know he is. So thanks for everything you do.
Thank you, Councilman.
Anyone else? Okay. Mark, thank you and your staff. I think it takes a special kind of person to do what y'all do, and I do admire you for doing it. Thank you so
Sam.
much.
Appreciate it.
Next up is the coroner. So we're going to play seat swapping.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
very much.
Appreciate your time.
You have this? Do you have this? You're 30. Thank y'all so much for coming. Appreciate you being here. And I'll first of all, I'd like to say I know that your millage has passed, and right now you're only operating on fund balances. So I want to just make sure that all the council's aware of that. Would you like to make an opening statement?
I would, thank you. Thank you for having us, and thank you for serving the parish. I know it's a big commitment for everybody. My name is Dr. Christopher Tape. I'm the coroner of St. Tammany Parish. I'm also the chief forensic pathologist. I am so thankful to have moved here and be living in St. Tammany Parish with my family because we feel safe. We feel safe from crime. I believe one of the reasons that St. Tammany has felt safer and is safer is because of the DNA lab that was funded for 20 years by the DNA millage. As you said, that millage has run out in 2024. We all know that DNA solves crime. We all watch CSI and all the forensic shows. DNA solves crime and is instrumental in prosecuting criminals. Nonviolent crime solved by DNA can and does prevent escalation to violent crimes. This is a cost savings to the parish and society in many ways, including attracting a larger and more affluent tax base. Currently, St. Tammany law enforcement submits about 95% of the samples for DNA analysis to the coroner's office. They do not reimburse us for that, so we cover those costs. We're happy to do that because we understand the importance of public safety and knowing the societal costs and the benefit the DNA can provide, including to law enforcement and to prosecutors. We have vowed to keep the DNA lab open. However, the coroner's millage has ended. There was no, the taxes stopped in 2024, so there will be no coroner's tax on anybody's 2025 tax bill. That means our office must self-fund the St. Tammany Parish Coroner's Office, including the DNA lab that keeps us safe, with the last of the ad valorem taxes collected from the 2024 tax year, as well as money from revenue earned over 20 years. This money will run out in about 2 years. In short, we are already doing everything we can to make the taxpayers' money that was dedicated for the coroner's office to last and to use it wisely. Most of our budget is spent on salaries to salaries and operational expenditures that are necessary to run the office and conduct investigations. Any positions that could have been reduced were already done upon taking office. For instance, I replaced salaried psychiatrists doing coronary emergency commitments with contract forensic psychiatrists who provide a higher level of care for less overall cost of the office. My chief deputy coroner is a forensic psychiatrist as opposed to an administrator. We eliminated around $1 million in salary by these changes alone while improving the services that made the parish safer. For those that don't know, I'm an MD with a subspecialty in forensic pathology, meaning I do autopsies. I have performed over 4,000 autopsies, mainly while working in Lafayette at the Louisiana Forensic Center, which did autopsies for around 20 parish coroners throughout the state, including Washington and Tangipahoa. I've been declared an expert witness in forensic pathology and homicide trials in Louisiana 158 times in 20 different judicial courts, including the 22nd for my Washington Parish case. I have even testified in Mississippi on a case where the body was recovered in Louisiana. My testimony over the years has been instrumental in successful murder convictions that have kept society safer and Louisiana safer. Currently, I'm aiming to perform about 100 autopsies per year out of the 250 to 300 needed locally. I have the same salary as the sheriff, clerk of court, and tax assessor set by law. Every St. Tammany case where I perform the autopsy in-house saves roughly $2,000 for our office. Only one other coroner in Louisiana is a forensic pathologist. Around 1,000 Louisiana cases are going to Arkansas for autopsies right now. If I could hire a forensic pathologist, we could save money on outsourcing the current cases that I can't do, and even get some outside parish cases to generate revenue. I'm going to give you a few numbers. 2024, we did 2,911 death investigations, 515 total death examinations, 295 were done by myself, 579 death certificates signed, 1,826 cremation permits. OPCs are basically a citizen commitment, 504 we granted. Coronary commitment, CECs, we did 5,530. That's a large number. So when people think that the coroner's office doesn't touch them, it does, just like all these other agencies. This is the reason the parish is a good parish and a great place to live. And in my 2 cents, it is not broken. It is working well. We need to find funding sources, but it doesn't mean it's broken. People are working hard and trying to cut costs on their own. DNA, we did about 110 cases last year. 6 of those cases were for the coroner. So I have copies of my CV if anybody's interested in looking at those. I didn't know whether I needed 14 copies or 12 plus 2, so I brought. Thank you. I'll be here all day. So again, we're thankful to be here. Thank you again for your work that you do. I have Laura White here, who is our Chief of Resources and basically everything. She's the DNA lab manager. Yancey Guerin is our Chief of Operation. He was with the Washington Coroner's Office, not Washington, West Baton Rouge Coroner's Office. Doyle Filistre is our Chief Financial Officer, and Mike Enzina is our expert to help us understand government accounting standards, because as an expert, I understand and appreciate letting other experts help me guide me through these things that are above my head. So those are my people, and again, thank you, and I'm thankful for this opportunity to address the council and the public, and welcome any feedback.
Okay.
Yancy Guerin, you want us to speak?
Dr. Tate, I think you summed it up real well. It's hard to believe it was a year ago we sat here with the last budget hearing. Went by real fast. So I'm sure this year is going to go by fast as well. I think that one thing I like for the public, I know that they're all you aware of, but maybe not everyone watching, is that the coroner's a state official, and we have state mandates. Although we have geographical jurisdiction, and the office is completely funded by the parish government, unless we have a millage, which was passed in 2004, and it ended in, as you said, in 2024. Yes. So one other thing, our psychiatrists, as you know, what's been going on around our country in the last couple of weeks. I think mental health should be at the forefront of what's going on. And one incident that was in the news claimed that a man was arrested 14 times and got out, things like that. But what they didn't mention was that they were trying to get him mentally committed, but the system failed him where he was at. And so we don't want that to happen here. Dr. Tate is, like he said, he ended the salary pathologist, and we have now triple board certified psychiatrists that are doing our exams, meaning they're certified in pediatrics, adult, and forensic psychiatry. And they're working on a fee for service. We don't have to offer them benefits. We've done everything we could to help cut back our costs. The only other thing I want to add maybe is the fact that I think Dr. Tate is doing a great job. And in every autopsy he can do, it is saving our parish. He's just limited, you know, from not being overworked. So we do have some other pathologists that help out, and we're grateful for them. But it is a pleasure, and y'all have been a pleasure to work with, everyone. And we appreciate all you do, and we understand that the challenges you're faced with, and we want to do everything we can to help keep St. Tammany safe. The DNA lab is just doing an outstanding job. There's 460,000 population of East Baton Rouge. There's over 100 homicides a year. In 2021, there was 151 homicides in East Baton Rouge Parish. Homicides. Here, you have a population of 277,000 approximately, and your homicide rate's down to like 10. That should make people want to live here. People should want to move here. Your property value is going to go up. It's going to help the economy in every possible way, and we're excited to help be part of that. So we're taking the funds that we have left, and we're sharing it with the district attorney and the sheriff, and providing those free DNA services so that they can capture these criminals on a lower scale, burglaries and thefts, before it escalates to shootings and stabbings. So that's about all I have. I'm be happy to answer any questions, but I'd like to introduce our, like Dr. Tate said, our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Don Filastri, and he has 30 years of service. It's an honor to work with him, and let him go into some more details of our budget.
Is it on? Can y'all hear me? All right, there we go. All right, and I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but just go over an overview that I've been over the budget trying to find ways to save money and talk to the staff, and especially since most of our, majority of our budget is based on the personnel that we have, the staff, and also the services that we have to pull in to provide the services necessary to make this a safe parish for people to live in. And when you break down the budget, the actual budget that's been going on this year, 97% of what we pay is for the people doing the services and the support they need and the supplies they need. And so we've done what we can to bring the cost down and have something that we can provide to you. And on top of that, the budget that's being proposed has us looking forward to see how can we do more and provide more services to the parish and even generate some revenue, which is, there's a balancing act there because you can't necessarily go and generate enough money to support the entire office, but having the ability to do some cost recovery and make some additional funds will help. And so I know right now I'm trying to complete the budget, and one of the issues I'm having is with the ad valorem taxes, understanding that based on the budget we submitted last year, we had budgeted and supplied to the parish governing authority and to the parish council that we'd be receiving ad valorem tax in excess of $8 million. And right now, that hasn't been received. And now to complete the budget this year, we're in the point of trying to debate amending our budget so that we can set up to complete the 2026 budget. And that's why we have Mike and Zena here, is I want to get this done. I want to get it done right. And I thought his input would be, it's been insightful for me, and I think it'd be insightful for him to be present, talk a minute about the budget challenges we have to overcome this hurdle. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to him to speak a moment about the budgeting process and what we need to do to finalize our budget.
Well, I'm sure as elected officials, you all have to deal with the budget law yourself. You know that the law provides that where there is a 5% unfavorable variance in revenues, 5% excess of expenditures, or even involves a fund balance carried over from one year to the next, if that's used to balance the budget. The budget is supposed to be monitored on an ongoing basis, and as soon as it becomes apparent to the CEO and the CFO, Dr. Tape and Mr. Fleischer here, that we're going to fall into that 5% unfavorable variance category, the budget is supposed to be amended. The problem is, there's a big question mark on the budget, and without that information, it's not possible to determine whether we are now due, I suspect we are, for an amendment to the budget, and if so, how do we adjust it? I don't know that, I don't have any answers to that, and I'm sure Doyle doesn't either. But that's the big problem, because they will be cited, and you know how governing boards get bent out of shape when their auditors cite them for lack of compliance with things like the budget law or open meetings laws and all the other stuff you have to comply with. And that certainly is not something that a CFO looks forward to on his or her watch. So the sooner we get some certainty in terms of the amount of tax revenues that are going to be provided, the sooner we can get the budget amendment and comply with with state law in that regard.
Okay, thank you. I think it's best at this time that I call upon our attorneys, I think, to come to the podium to answer what can be given and what, since we are in litigation.
Good afternoon. James Bolner from the District Attorney's Office.
Thank you. They're asking questions. I think they're waiting on us to give them some answers on the budget, and I don't think at this time we can answer those. Is that correct?
Well, I can't tell you what to say or not say. It's a public meeting and to address the coroner's budget. However, there is pending litigation between Tammany Parish government and the coroner's office concerning the budget, concerning the ad valorem tax money, and I would advise St. Tammany Parish government that it would be inappropriate to comment on the status of those that pending litigation. In terms of where we are with that, the litigation is pending in front of Judge Black. In the 22nd Judicial District, we have a hearing set in October. There's also litigation at the First Circuit that we don't have a hearing date on yet, but yes, all those things are pending.
Okay. Thank you. Annie, did you want to respond or not?
I just wanted to say that we'll need to do a budget amendment as well. We have on our budget that we'd be receiving the $14 million from them, so we will need to do a budget amendment as well. That's it.
Okay. All right. Mr. Kugel.
Thank you. Dr. Tape, I know you guys, the DNA lab, I know that you it is an asset to the parish. I know that there was talks before whether or not that could be, I think you just mentioned it's a free service. Was it you that just mentioned that? So municipalities are not charged for that?
St. Tammany Municipality.
So outside of the
I
parish.
could take Washington Parish and Tangipahoa and not take any St. Tammany cases and make a business out of it, but obviously I wouldn't do that.
So do you have the capability, if to some of the surrounding parishes, to also let them utilize it for a fee?
Absolutely.
And do you do that now?
Yeah, we've taken one case already.
Okay, so do you think
that's our plan, is to fold that in into the operations. But again, it's not something, as Doyle says, we can't fund the operation. We can offset some costs. And it's extra difficult with the DNA lab. There's sort of diminishing returns there. There's not a lot. The equipment is very expensive. You have to upgrade a lot, and the reagents, the chemicals are very expensive.
Now, do you know if other parishes, do they charge municipalities within their parish, or is it?
I'm the only corner with a DNA lab in the world.
In the world, okay.
I'm not sure about the world, but yeah, at least the state.
So no other parish has a DNA lab?
Absolutely not. Not the coroner. Jefferson, there's the state lab has a DNA lab. There's DNA labs, but none of the coroners run their own DNA lab.
Okay, so if there's homicide or whatever in Jefferson, or some crime where there's DNA, they would do it within the parish, or they send it to Baton Rouge?
They send it to Jefferson Parish DNA lab.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Bender.
Thank you. So, Dr. Tape, the first thing is, I know you're an MD. I'm glad to hear that your specialty is in forensic pathology, and you do. It sounds like you do most of the autopsies.
About a quarter.
About a quarter of the autopsies. So, I mean, you literally are a working coroner in terms of one of the main things that the coroner's office does, which is autopsies.
Yes, sir, death investigation.
Okay. Our district attorney he had asked for a meeting with me about a week or so ago, and I asked him the question, we were talking about, like, his own millage is expired, the coroner's millage is expired. I think in his case, it might be the sales tax that expired. But I asked him how important, because an attorney made a statement to me, which I'll withhold for the time being, but I asked him how important is DNA results in not only murder trials, but maybe armed robbery, burglary, etc. And his answer to me was that, the juries, they expect DNA results. And of course, he commented that he thinks that a lot of that is because there's so many shows that have been on TV. I think there's even one in NCIS New Orleans, maybe, and DNA is really pushed as kind of absolute proof. You agree with that?
Well, absolutely. It's this CSI effect, we call it, and they expect that, and they expect to at least be done, that you take a shot at it, and it lines up with the rest of the evidence. And people like that DNA evidence. You're absolutely right.
One other thing, are you saying the state lab, the state DNA lab, which is the only DNA lab in the state other than ours in St. Tammany Parish, is that what you said?
It's the Jefferson State Lab and our lab. I think there might be in Acadiana.
Okay.
Lab. So one thing to point out is the state lab, they don't take anything that's nonviolent crime. So, and my point earlier is it stops escalation. So what you might think is a minor burglary or a vandalism or peeping Tom incident might escalate if you don't catch that person to rape and to murder and so on. So if you can catch them early with that DNA, even though it seems like it's small a cost, you know, that this minor vandalism, it's not worth the DNA per se, the dollar amount, but for society, it's absolutely crucial. Yeah, the jury's like that, and again, I've testified 158 times. What comes up with the pathology is time of death interval. And I have to explain, it's not like TV. I can't say it's a left-handed individual at 7:15 p.m. on a Thursday. You know, the best evidence we have is usually as soon as their TikTok ended and the Instagram stopped, that's pretty much when they died, because it'll be continuous and then they stop having a digital footprint. But yeah, the juries like to see that evidence. As far as the coroner system, the coroner should be an independent individual, because we're making such difficult determinations about the cause and manner of death. And most places in the country, the death investigation is done by a medical examiner. And that medical examiner is a forensic pathology by training, just like myself, and they've gone through a number of years. So if I was in another state, it makes perfect sense that I'm the coroner, because it's basically like I'm the medical examiner of this parish, even though we don't have a medical examiner system.
Okay.
So I'm uniquely qualified to certify the deaths and to hire forensic pathologists and supervise them.
All right. The coroner, prior to you taking office, Dr. Preston, and see if this is correct. He had told me that the state's DNA lab can take as long as 7-8 months to get results back. Is that pretty accurate?
I think it's close to a year now.
Okay.
Yes, it takes a long, we're easily twice as fast as that. So again, we can get the business that's the nonviolent crime business and also just the business that they want a quicker answer to.
How quick can you all get an answer to, say, for example, a violent crime, a violent crime?
Within 30 days. We just had a case that we solved it within, I think, 3 weeks.
Okay. The other thing that I wanted to mention is these two gentlemen, when I went on a tour, I got my time wrong. I came an hour early, and but they were nice enough to take me on a tour. And I don't think I got to tell the whole council this, but at the end of the tour, they showed me this piece of equipment that you all had purchased that, and correct me if I'm wrong the way I stated. I was told that you could take a piece of clothing, for example, with maybe DNA on it or whatever, and put it through this machine.
The MVAC, I think you're talking about?
Probably, yeah, I guess that's
it's kind of like a shop vac that can collect that DNA and kind of concentrates the DNA.
And they can tell from that whether the person is a Caucasian or of a different persuasion, okay? And what were the other things y'all told me? I think you told me the color of their eyes.
See, you're talking about NGS, and that's something, yeah, they're getting a very detailed profile of the person, and it's not left-handed individual at 7:15, but they're getting close to that. So.
I mean, are they picking up the color of their eyes?
Oh, Laura can speak on this.
So that's next generation sequencing, which we are working toward getting online probably by the middle of next year. We are not at the stage where we can tell you the color of their eye. That is what we are working towards. So when we get it online, it will give us a more detailed profile. Yes, we would like to eventually get to the point where we can tell you the color of their eyes. We're just not quite there yet.
But right now, you can tell if it's a Caucasian or an Hispanic?
So we can tell by the statistics whether it's more likely to be Caucasian, Hispanic, African American.
So this equipment is evolving to give you even more accurate information.
Correct.
Absolutely, and it gives you a probability. It's going to give you a probability on these different characteristics.
Okay, and Annie, maybe you could answer this. Joe and I were here when the Dr. Galvin came to us about building the coroner's office and the DNA lab, and I know this is the right number. It went to the public for 4 mills, but of course, now that was, I think, Joe, in 2005, or 4. So it's been a long time ago. The value of a mill has gone up. Annie, do you remember when their millage ended, what rate it was? Was it like 2.65 or 2.66? Wow, okay. So the value of a mill has gone up a little bit more in 2 years, okay? That 2.66 to 3 mills y'all have looked at, and that would solve your funding problem.
That would be great, yes.
Because the value of a mill.
Funding problem, because eventually it's the parish government's responsibility to fund the coroner.
Yeah. The value of a mill.
He had to press it. You have to press it again. I'm sorry. You have to press your mic again. And if you could, I have other people waiting, okay? All right.
Annie, the value of a mill is about $3,400,000 right now? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Mr. Corbett.
Thank you, Chairman Tamner. A couple questions. One is, Dr. Tape, you referenced and read off a variety of statistics. I would really like to see those if you could send them to us.
Sure.
Because I obviously could not write nearly that fast.
I'm sorry.
But I think
repeat
it's useful to understand the scope of services provided and the volume. If you had it over a couple, 3 years, would be even more valuable. But at least to get what it is you read off, if you could provide that, that'd be great.
Sure. The main number, the big number to me was the 5,500 coroner commitments.
Yes.
Again, so that's a lot of, that's like our biggest number, basically.
Right.
Our biggest interaction with the public.
Yeah, and if you wanted to put any kind of commentary on any one of those so that we can better interpret them, I'd appreciate
Sure.
that as well. But not a big effort on your part, but just to provide those back to us would be great. You mentioned, I think you mentioned it before in last year's meeting about the need for hiring another forensic pathologist, the benefits of doing that. Is that due to the number of available applicants that limits your ability to go do that? Or what's causing you, because I believe we talked about that same thing last year.
Yes, sir. So to understand my training, I did, undergraduate. I have a degree in molecular cellular developmental biology. I did MD. Then I did resident training for 4 years in anatomic and clinical pathology. Then a year-long fellowship in forensic pathology. So that's a lot of training just to get to where you're at. There's only about 30 forensic pathology fellowships throughout the country. So that only means about 30 are trained every year. And even those who do that fellowship, they don't necessarily do full-time forensic work. They can be doing biopsies and doing other things, and they just have that forensic feather in their cap for whatever reason. More and more forensic pathologists are retiring than are being replaced, so that's part of the problem. When you think about the bigger picture, and we talk about crime and safety, when I was over there in Lafayette, we were doing about 9 homicides per week for all our districts, and here they recruited me because they said we had 9 homicides per year. I was like, okay, sign me up. But when you're looking around the country and you want to relocate your family, you want to be in a safe place. And you also don't want to be slammed at work doing so many homicides. So you want to have a safe place to work that's not so violent, so you're not being slammed at work, and get good pay. So I have to compete with not only the pay, and I can be competitive in my pay by making things work, but to actually compete and get someone who wants to relocate to South Louisiana, they're going to have usually a family commitment or some sort of connection here, which is what we work on, obviously. But it's an uphill battle. Right now, we're lucky because we can have locum tenens available, substitute doctors, basically, we can recruit. And we can take cases to Jefferson Parish across the lake when we need to. The problem is if we have all these outside cases that are potentially there, that's the bigger potential revenue producer. Because unlike the DNA lab that has diminishing returns, autopsies, we do our morning, or our cases from St. Tammany, usually we're done by lunchtime, and we're doing other things in the afternoon. So it's potential that the capacity is there. It's not like I would have to hire anybody to pick up, say, another 200 cases per year.
Sure.
Then 400, then, you know, so on. At a certain point, I have to hire a totally new staff. But for now, I can rely on, if I just had another forensic pathologist that I could hire, I could actually bring in quite a bit of revenue.
Okay.
But as you say, it's very difficult to recruit. And right now, because of the uncertainty, because of the pending litigation, again, you've been highly trained subspecialist and you want to relocate your family, you want to be there for a while and you want to have some stability financially.
Okay. On the expenditures chart here, I just had a couple questions. I had actually really one question. If I look at the numbers between your original 2025 budget and your proposed budget amendment, there, you're seeing some nominal movements of costs between the various lines. One of them jumps out though on the purchased professional and tech services. It looks like you're looking at about a $500K amendment increase, which is 41% increase over the planned budget. And it represents that 500K represents 7% of the total budget.
I think what that is that we transferred that we were hoping to hire a full-time salaried forensic pathologist. So we had that money budgeted. And when I stopped advertising for full-time forensic pathologists, we just moved that into the contract work. Is that correct, Doyle? So it's basically the same money, just it's moved from one item to the other.
Okay.
We're saving that money. So we're over budgeting that money because I do want to be able to attract somebody and to be able to offer them a competitive salary.
Okay, so you're suggesting, Doyle, that transition came from that's part of that is reflected in the reduction in salaries and related expenditures. The line above that,
Yeah.
where it did go down, and I didn't notice that. I thought that might be attributable to open slots, so that's why I didn't relate those two necessarily.
No, in concern for the open slots that's in the budget, that's $673,000 that's budgeted for open slots where he can get a forensic pathologist, and also there's some staffing needed for the DNA lab.
Okay.
Especially if they're looking to expand the services there. Because right now there's even an element to where the staffing is at such a level to where the turnover can even cause a risk of losing the accreditation of the DNA lab.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Chairman. That's all, Chairwoman, that's all my questions.
Mr. Impostata.
Yeah, I'll be real quick. So the DNA lab, if it's a violent, like if you're in Washington Parish, it's a violent crime, they're going to bring it to the state. But if it's a non-violent crime, they don't have that option?
Well, I have no authority over Washington Parish. They can do whatever. They could bring anything to us or not bring anything to us. But my point is that if they try to submit a burglary to the state will not accept it.
The state. So where do they bring it?
For us, I think they brought something they wanted quickly.
They had something.
It's a matter of time.
They had a cold case they were trying to solve. They wanted to do anything else that they could do to see if they could come up with a profile. But I think what your question is, Washington Parish can bring violent crimes or nonviolent crimes to us. They can only bring violent crimes to the state, and it would take up to a year maybe to get the results back. We could get the results back in about 30 days.
So it's a major speed component that would make it more viable to
The
bring.
last time they brought something, we charged them like $3,750. They brought a check with the samples, and we tested it and got the results back to them. Maybe less than 30 days.
And with the state, it would be no charge?
It would be no charge.
But it's a lot of time.
Right, and so you won't have a profile on who to even possibly arrest for a year down the road. Then it may take a year to go to court after that. So it just prolongs things so much.
So that's where there could be an opportunity for other parishes to utilize. Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't mean to confuse you. We'll take any cases, but we do have a backlog of St. Tammany cases, so we have to be smart about it. So I'm literally not advertising, but it's just word of mouth, like we need this done quickly. Oh, St. Tammany has a lab. Okay, we'll accept it on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
Any other
And if I'm not
questions?
mistaken, I think we can do like a quick identification in maybe 24 hours, 48 hours, possibly? 72, okay. But we can, if you have something you just want to see if this DNA matches that DNA, it's not, we don't have to wait a month.
That's what we use it for, because we have an unidentified body.
So I'm not being disrespectful. Why do we have such a backlog of St. Tammany Parish cases?
Sure. That's a very good question. We had some staff turnover. So we lost 2 of our analysts due to uncertainty with the loss of the millage. And then we also had an analyst who retired recently. So right now we have 3 analyst spots open. We have 2 full-time analysts working all the cases at this time. So that's why we have such a backlog right now.
So it's never an equipment issue or never,
No,
it's just
sir.
a staffing issue?
Correct. In
Okay.
2024, when we were fully staffed, we were working cases as they came in the door. When we lost those analysts and were unable to replace them, that's when we began to have a backlog.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And the business is sort of nonstop, so, you know, you clear and then it keeps coming, as you know. It's like a lot of business.
Okay. Seeing no more questions, I thank y'all for appearing today. I know y'all are trying to do the best you can with what you have, so I appreciate, the committee appreciates you being here today. Thank you so much.
I would just like to say one more thing, like,
Yes.
my office is doing a great job. It's not just Dr. Tape, it's everybody in the office. I'm so proud of them, and I just want to say that and thank everybody.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, can we just ask, Doc, have you determined, have y'all given any thought to when you're going to try to go back?
Jerry, press your button.
Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. Have you given any thought to when you're going to try to go out for a renewal of your millage?
Yes, we've given a lot of thought, you know, even since before I was corner elect, they've been thinking about, you know, the possibilities. My understanding is that the request for millage has to come from you all, from the parish government, or from parish government, and that we can encourage them to do that, because the way the law is, if you don't have a millage, the coroner's office has to be funded by the parish government. So I would love a new millage. I would, you know, we were kind of throwing some numbers around. Probably around 2.5 might do it. You know, I'm not going to promise here anything numbers, but that's the ballpark. And, you know, we do want to make sure we have enough to cover everything, but we want to be fair to the parish, and maybe we can work something out, whereas if the more revenue we make, the less taxpayers are hit every year. You know, have some, and again, I can't promise anything.
Right.
But we're trying to work with everybody here, and the money we're using is dedicated coroner money, but we're using for coroner business.
Right, and we do have to approve putting it on the ballot. I just wanted to make the point that if you look at the Secretary of State's office, there are certain months that you can get it on the ballot. And you have to have a big start in front of it, because it's got to go to the bond commission, okay?
Yeah, I think we should discuss that further, but I think maybe next spring, summertime would be the ideal time to ask for it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. The Sheriff's Office.
Need some coffee, Ms. Hudson? Got me some coffee.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us today. This is only about the jail. That's the only revenue that, or the item that we pay to the sheriff is for the jail. So would you like to make an opening statement?
I'm just going to go through and answer some of the questions y'all have.
That would be great.
I'm Lauren Hudson. I'm the CFO of the Sheriff's Office. For your first question regarding our org chart and whatnot, the parish does not actually fund any of our billets, so any of those questions really don't apply to us. This is sort of a different situation than you have with everybody else. Your questions regarding revenue, the jail does have some revenue, and it's all on our finance sheets. You can see that. We're anticipating, give or take, $656,000 in telephone commissions, and that's mostly from inmates. I will tell you that there's a problem with that revenue in the spring. There's a federal law that is changing that may put that revenue at risk. So we may lose a decent amount of that $656,000. So we've budgeted it being hopeful. We also estimate receiving $20,000 in medical co-pays in fiscal year 26. And then, you know, the sheriff also keeps prisoners. So we've estimated $4.9 million in keeping of prisoners, and that would be both DOC and feds. That revenue has been declining every year. So, okay, your second question regarding grants. The sheriff does not have any active grants for the jail, but we do not own the building and we do not maintain the building. We do have, it's not a grant, but we also have opioid funds. I know the parish has some opioid funds, and we are using some of our opioid funds to help with detox in the jail. The warden will tell you that on any given Friday night, the jail is the biggest detox facility in the parish, and he is not wrong. We have a lot of inmates detoxing on weekends. So jail medical and the runners are having trouble keeping up with it. So we're using our opioid money to spend with overtime getting extra shifts, because inmates that are detoxing need additional check-ins and medication. It's just a lot more. So we're hiring deputies on weekends specifically to provide specific and additional care for detoxing inmates. Okay, regarding the fund balance, I think everybody here should know this. The jail has had a zero fund balance since our fiscal year 2020. And I think everybody knows our fiscal year is different than your fiscal year. Y'all are a calendar year. Ours is July 1 through June 30. So when I'm giving you fiscal year numbers, it's sheriff's fiscal year numbers. Okay, so zero reserves. Those were depleted. Sheriff's fiscal year 2020. You asked about budget cuts. The sheriff has implemented, both for the sheriff's office and for the jail, every budget cut I can think of, down to cutting out business cards. We really don't do business cards anymore. We have cut out stationery. We have cut out everything. Anybody who has run a department in the public sector knows your biggest expense is going to be personnel and benefits. That's give or take 60% of most departments' public budget. In 2015, before Sheriff Smith took office, the jail had 227 billets. Today, it has 150. So we've cut 77 billets already. And I don't know, have you all seen and read the jail operational analysis that was done by the parish experts witness? You guys, if you have not seen it and read it, you should absolutely read it. This is a very interesting read, and it definitely has some good information in it. But their expert says absolutely not. We cannot cut for staff any further. So we can't cut anything else from the jail as far as staff goes. We are as bare bones as we get. As far as procurement goes, we're subject to the same guidelines you are. Almost everything already comes from a state contract. The state contract price is the state contract price. Inflation has done a number on that. The prices have just gone up. We can't help that. So, and I'm also willing, if anybody can find anything in our budget for the jail that you think we can cut, by all means, let me know. I am willing to discuss it. So that is the jail expenses. As far as what do I think y'all can do, I've emailed a couple of you. Let's talk about utilities for the jail. In our fiscal year 25, because we just closed our fiscal year 25, the cost of electricity in the jail was $467,704.51. That's electricity. Water and sewer, $151,477.34, and the cost of gas, $265,867.91. The jail was built in 1985. It was improved in 2001. For the most part, we have had very little improvement since then. The roofs were replaced in the last year or so, but most of the appliances are still still original. Most of the light fixtures are still original. We are spending a ton of money on non-energy efficient appliances, light fixtures, etc., and I think that we could save a lot of money on that. With respect to the water, all of the buildings have a plumbing computer control system except for Building A. Why is that important? Well, we are dealing with inmates who don't really care if we have a high water bill. The inmates will use the showers and just leave them on. They will leave sinks on 24/7. They don't care. So not only is it raising your bill, they can use that to clog drains and toilets intentionally. So just this week, the sheriff's office has had 3 clogged toilets and or drain calls because the inmates are intentionally flooding, and now that's also a housekeeping call. Because if they're clogging the toilets intentionally because we can't shut off the water and limit it because there is no plumbing controls in Building A, then we're increasing our water, we're increasing our housekeeping costs because that is not clean water. It's not just a regular house cleaning, that has to be sanitized. All of that. So when you see this year, we are transitioning maintenance to the parish. That has been an experience. So actually, the parish prepared the capital plan, the 10-year plan. So when they go over that with you, please look at the jail plumbing computer item that is on there because that could save all of us money, you and us. But that is why that is so important, is because we cannot stop the inmates from doing something that is not only increasing our water costs, but it is increasing the housekeeping costs as well. And the cost of a plumber having to come out 2 or 3 times a week to unclog drains. Okay, the cost of gas is the same thing. It's just appliances that need to be replaced with more energy efficient versions. Maintenance. There is a transition committee and we have been working with them. Right now, the sheriff has employees that we pay hourly to do maintenance. So that if we need a light bulb changed or something like that done, they just go do it. Or a draw, if it's a simple clog, something like that, we go out there with a plunger and they can do it. The parish's plan is to hire a general contractor and a subcontractor for everything, so that they don't have an actual parish employee on the site. The pros of that, to be fair, are that then you have a vendor to blame it on and you're avoiding liability. The cons, those 3 sewer incidents that we had to deal with this week and we dealt with our $20 an hour employee, you're gonna have to pay a plumber between $70 and $150 an hour to deal with all 3. So as the CFO, it doesn't matter to me how you do it because it is your maintenance bill. As a tax-paying citizen, $20 an hour sounds a heck of a lot cheaper to me than 3 incidents at $70 to $150 an hour. So that is not a sheriff's office position. That is Lauren letting you know that that is a discussion for y'all to have because it is your decision how you want to take over maintenance. Let's talk about jail medical. Pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 15703, I sometimes go quick. Am I going too quick for anybody? You can just flag me down and tell me. Okay. The parish is responsible for jail medical. We have recommended that you take over, and we currently have a contract with Correct Health. And instead of you taking on the administrative burden of hiring all of these people, that you just have him direct bill for the parish inmates and direct bill us for the inmates we're responsible for. I would encourage you to do that. If not, then the parish is going to need to hire doctors and nurses 24/7, and you're going to need specialists. We definitely have some pregnant inmates that require special care. We have patients who have cancer and they're receiving chemo. We have patients who need dialysis treatments. They need a dentist. They need a mental health professional. You're looking at 10 to 15 specialists that you're going to have to hire, and nurses 24/7, and a pharmacist, and then distributing it, whereas this company can do it for you. But again, that is your decision, but we do need you to make a decision because we need to sign a contract. So if you want to hire your own and administer your own doctors and whatnot, then you can do that. Or if you want to enter into a contract with the company we have, we can help you get in touch with them and do that as well. If you're going to do the latter, then I would say I would expect your medical costs to increase probably by 2/3. The sheriff's office has done it both ways. There's a reason we are doing it this way. It's also less liability for us to do it this way, but y'all have never had to do it. So from experience, the sheriff's office is doing it this way for a reason. This is what we think is best for us, but you also get to make your own decision about how you want to handle your inmates. So y'all can just let us know, but if that is your choice, I would increase that budget by give or take 2/3. The maintenance budget we gave you, depending on what y'all decide there, don't rely on our numbers. That is what it costs the sheriff to do maintenance, but the transition committee has all of those numbers. They've got all of our contracts and they're doing bids, so they should be able to give you better numbers on maintenance. What else? We did talk about the capital projects plan, and I hope Julian is going to go over that with y'all, but please pay attention to that. If you are not already aware, we have failed a couple of Department of Health inspections, so you could save money by maybe not failing those because we're getting fined, and the parish is going to have to pay those fines. So y'all have all been invited to see the jail. Until you actually see the jail, you won't truly understand what we're trying to show you. So I'm inviting you again at any time, almost any time. You don't want to come during feed up, it's a mess. But not during feed up, come, see the jail. I will get the warden to personally walk you through and we can show you whatever you want to see, I promise. But again, I'm extending the invitation. If you want to see what it is we're talking about, come on down, email me, let me know, and I will arrange that. You don't want lunch at the jail, I would say we could feed you lunch, but trust me, you don't want it. The other thing, I don't want to get into litigation too much because we are still in litigation, but I'm going to ask you to look at the statute. Louisiana Revised Statute 135535, paragraph 1. The judge has some unusual occurrences during trial. If any of you have experience in the legal field, one of them was which he actually left the bench while a witness was giving testimony. So the sheriff is pretty confident that we're going to win an appeal on lots of things. One of the major and most expensive issues is feeding of inmates. The judge has read the statute as the max that you owe is $3.50 per day, when quite literally the statute says not less than $3.50 per day. All you have to do is Westlaw it, pull it up, and you will read the words not less than. I know that we're going to wait until the First Circuit fixes it, but in the meantime, I am asking you to budget for the reimbursement since February and then to fix it going forward. And then I want to talk a few minutes about the population and crime in general. Y'all know, everybody knows the population is changing in St. Tammany and we are increasing, which in a lot of ways is a really good thing. I also supervise the department that is in charge of the LIBOR stats. Y'all know what LIBOR stats are? No? All right, they're crime stats. Do we have water? What about this? No water?
She'll get it.
So I've got here some data on the major crimes from 2020 through 2024, only because now I'm talking about calendar year, not fiscal year, because we're still in 2025. In 2020, for major crimes, that's going to be murder, sex offenses, robbery, burglary, that type of stuff. You had 2,325 major crimes. 2024, 2,567. That's an additional 242 arrests. And that's not regular, like, you know, petty theft crimes. Those are major crimes. Arrests for adults from 2020 to 2024, you had an additional 306 arrests. Thank you so much. And juvenile arrests from 2020 to 2024, you had an additional 100. So the population is growing. We have a little bit more crime. Our crime stats are holding. We are way above the national average for the solve rate, but we are arresting more people. That means there's more people in your jail. The population of the jail is changing. As the population changes and you increase your percentage of parish inmates, the cost that is assigned to the parish also increases. As we cut funding to criminal justice, and I understand that this is a difficult situation, the tax is gone, we have to face it, but it's slowing down the justice system. If we have less funding for judges and the DA, then they are going to, cases are going to last longer. The longer they last, the longer they're in your jail, the higher it's going to cost you in jail expenses. So we're in this vicious circle that we all need to solve somehow, or ultimately we're only going to have a parish jail and you will have 100% of the cost, because we're not going to have room for anybody else, because the justice system is going to have slowed down so much. So that is just a FYI on the statistics. We are definitely arresting more people every year. We are definitely having an increase in crime every year, which is putting more work and more burden on the entire judicial system. So we've got to keep that in mind when we're making decisions about, are we cutting 100% of just the criminal justice agencies, or are we also going to try and trim also from some of the agencies that maybe weren't part of the text? Just a suggestion. Do y'all have any questions?
Okay, any questions? Mr. Impasada.
Yeah, so when you talk about the cost-saving measures for electricity and gas and getting appliances or equipment that's more efficient, have you done, I know it's really not a formal study, but an evaluation, what the cost is to replace those pieces of equipment and what they will save?
We can't really tell what they will save, but as they go bad, the sheriff's office has been replacing them one by one. So if we have to replace one, we've been replacing it with the more efficient fixture.
But you would know if a newer piece of equipment is more efficient than the existing equipment and how much you would save in the future, so what the value would be to replace it sooner than later. I just wonder if it's not been looked at.
We've not been a study.
So it's kind of like a guess.
It's just a guess.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And who provides the water? Is it
I think it's the city.
the city of Covington? Okay.
They won't give us a break. We tried.
Okay. I was just curious.
And I need to ask one question. Is there a team that is involved in going from, okay, so we didn't know, okay. I'll ask that question later. Mr. Corbett.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I just have a couple questions. You talked about the transition in the keeping of prisoners and how much is reduced. Is that solely attributable to the increases that you talked about in terms of the volume of people getting arrested, or are there other factors that are also playing into that decrease over the window of time?
No, sir. We still have capacity at the jail, so we are not at capacity yet. Well, the feds have decreased. I don't have an explanation for that. I do have an explanation for the DOC decreasing. We had to close the reentry program last July. It was costing us more money than we were making. Y'all all know the sheriff has been contributing from the general fund to cover the expenses at the jail. We can no longer afford to do contracts that we are not at least breaking even on, if not making money. That was one of them. We were losing money on the DOC reentry contract, so it got cut.
And DOC wasn't willing to renegotiate that contract to
We tried
get full reimbursement? Okay.
multiple times, showed them all of the expenses, and they could not come up with the difference.
Okay, you rattled off some data and statistics. I don't expect you to go back to it, but could you provide that to us
Absolutely.
so we have a copy of it? And in regard to some of the questions, there's some of the comments about the jail. I have read the report. I've actually toured the jail, and so I understand the things you're talking about. I'm well aware of the cost reduction availability through the water system. I know that was done before, and in the infrastructure committee, when Julian presented, he actually presented some of the items that are on the jail's capital plan that they're looking at, both in what's being done in 2025 and what's planned for 2026. You know, for example, the replacement of all the drains in the kitchen area due to the fact there was only one functional, and then when it finally clogged and we had to pay, the parish had to pay outsourced meals until that could get rectified. Also, the floors in that area. So there's a variety of things that I'll speak for me that I'm familiar with that we are aware of, and we will watch and work with the parish administration to understand what the priorities are and why those priorities are in place as we look at the jail in our future budget meetings. So thank you.
No, you absolutely, the roofs were a priority because they were leaking, and that's been done. The drain was definitely in the kitchen. We only had one working drain. That was done. Recently the ACs broke in several of the buildings this summer, so it's inmates and employees that were working in 90+ degree conditions. But I think we got the coils replaced on 3 of them, Three's
Still
better
have
than
one, you
none.
still have one down though, correct?
Right.
Okay.
But 3 ACs is better than 0 ACs.
No, I
mean,
understand.
even if it's 80 degrees, it's better than 90 degrees.
Yep.
So they've absolutely, projects are happening. For 5 or 6 years, nothing happened. But in the last year and a half, projects are happening.
Good. So I would reach
It's-
out to my peers and say I'd encourage you, if you have not had a chance, to both read that report as well as to go visit the jail. It's a worthwhile tour. The warden at the time, when I went in about almost a year ago, gave a very, very good tour and pointed out most of the things that you mentioned today. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bender, I'm going to ask y'all to keep it short. We would like to finish in before 3. Thank you. Mr. Bender.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ma'am, early on, you made a statement in your presentation about $400,000 or $450,000 that y'all were going to be losing, or it's going to be decreasing by that amount.
$656,000.
Yeah, what was that about?
So I hope we don't lose all of it. So it's commission from the inmates. It's telephone commission. We have video machines so that they can visit or make phone calls to family.
And that's bringing in $650,000 a year?
Yes, sir.
Oh, why would we lose it?
The federal law has changed, and according to our attorneys, the rate at which the company that is doing it is charging, they're not allowed to do it anymore as of April this coming year.
The rate is too high, so the price has to come down?
Yes, sir.
So you're saying you might lose, how much do you think it's going to come down by?
Significantly. We're estimating, I think we'll probably, so I think that's what you heard. With 656,000 that we are thinking we're going to take in, but it's probably going to come down by 400,000.
Okay. Department of Corrections. So if they don't agree with the cost of food that you're telling them, okay, what do they do with their prisoners?
The LSA has been working with them on that. And this year they did raise it, I think by $3. We were being paid 26 and change, and now we're getting per day for a DOC prisoner, and I think the law changed and it's now $29 and change per inmate.
But you said we're losing money on the state's inmates.
Whoa, that was for reentry. Yes, sir.
What does that mean for reentry?
Okay, we had a reentry program where the DOC would send inmates back to St. Tammany Parish, and we had like a GED program and some nonviolence and some education programs, and it was basically getting the inmate ready to come back into society.
Okay.
You were at the end of your sentence, and these are some things you need to do to be successful in the community. So we would teach them classes, and then in theory, they were supposed to be able to re-enter society successfully, and DOC paid us to do that. But the cost of the instruction and security and all of that, they weren't paying us enough to cover our expenses.
Okay, thank you.
So we were losing money not on the daily rate for DOC, but on the cost of actually administering the program and having employees do it. They weren't paying us enough to cover those expenses.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, is it Officer Hudson or just?
Technically, it's Major Hudson, but really just Lauren.
Okay, good. Well, Ms. Hudson, I've got a question and a thought. It seems to me after hearing all this and thinking about it, would it be more cost effective just to shut the jail down and ship prisoners elsewhere? Like people ship prisoners to us. Why couldn't it work to our advantage to do the same?
We've considered this. It would work to the sheriff's advantage, but not the parish's advantage. The going rate for us to ship a prisoner out is $40 per day. We actually have, I believe, 82 prisoners right now that are directly being billed because they cannot be housed here. One of them is in Angola and one of them is at another parish. I'm not the warden, so those specific details aren't my wheelhouse, but I'm pretty sure the parish is being direct billed for at least 2. One of them was the priest killer. And then there's another one, but the parish is being direct billed $40 per day to house an inmate in another parish. So yes, other parishes will take our inmates if the parish is willing to pay $40 per day for them.
Seems to me that'd be a little bit more cost effective than having to do everything that we're being asked to do. The jail needs to be demolished maybe and rebuild another one. I don't know how expensive that would be, but I think I'd rather pay $40 an inmate personally.
So that was the recommendation of your expert.
Okay, good. I tend to agree with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, if I could understand, apparently there's been a meeting between the sheriff and the administration on doing this process, but we were not in the loop, so I guess we asked questions that we probably shouldn't have asked. I don't know. But can we get an update on that before the next meeting, just to know what's going on? I appreciate it.
From me? Okay.
From them.
I can
Not
give you
you.
an update.
You're good. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Yes. Yes, sir. Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that it was clear to all the council that, yes, the jail, and the report does show that the jail is in not a good state. But I wanted to make it very clear that these things have not deteriorated. The jail has not deteriorated over the last 2 years. The jail was the responsibility. We had intergovernmental agreements with the sheriff for 23 years that we were paying for jail maintenance, that they weren't doing it. So I just wanted to, the state of the jail is not, it's our responsibility, but it wasn't our fault that the jail has gotten into the situation that it's in. So I just wanted to make that clear.
And
And
I'd
that
like
was
to
a ruling
respond
of
to
the
that.
court as well.
So the intergovernmental agreements just said maintenance. They did not distinguish between daily maintenance and capital maintenance. And we have a significant difference in what we consider capital. At that time, up until last year, the sheriff's capital threshold was $2,500. Last year, we did raise it to $5,000, whereas the parish's capital threshold is $100,000, which is very, very high. So the sheriff's office was doing all maintenance less than $2,500. And we have thousands of documents to support that. We were not doing capital maintenance. The parish at one point employed a director of maintenance, and every single year we submitted a 10-year capital plan requesting money for capital stuff, which was pretty much denied almost every single year. So the sheriff's position there is going to be that you knew you were responsible for capital maintenance. You asked us every year to submit a capital plan. We did, and that capital plan was denied almost every single year. The sheriff did meet its obligations with respect to daily maintenance.
I'm going to cut you off right there because I know our legal team's here, and I don't know where anything is still pending, but I see Angel doing this, so I need to cut this conversation off. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. We are adjourned.